Welcome to the new JFK show. Gary King can't join us. It's something like number 285. Larry's found a pot of gold and he wants to share it with us. I'm simply thrilled. So I'm turning over the host responsibility to him so I can share with all of us his latest discoveries. I think you're going to be amazed. Larry.
Are you recording yet, Jim?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to start by introducing an exclusive guest of ours who is part of the Project JFK CSI Dallas group, which includes Brian Edwards and David Knight, who, we've had a couple of times, on the show, and Casey Quinlan, who we had, a few months ago on the Scorzani connection to the JFK assassination. And we figured that tonight, where we're going to offer some really, really good information, that we should have him on our show, because we're going to talk about, of all things, the transcripts of the Jack Ruby trial. And why are we going into that area? Well, there's an author by the name of Mark Shaw who has done and published a lot about the Dorothy Kilgallen case. And I mean, that should open a floodgate, of things here between us as an introduction, actually. What do you guys know about Dorothy?
Well, we know she had a one-on-one with Jack and unwisely said she was going to blow the case open. And I think he filled her in with a lot of good stuff. So she was taken out to make it look as though it were an overdose. She did use barbiturates, but she was very cautious. She would never have applied an overdose. So they took advantage of her having the habit to take her out. And of course, all her notes, all her records from her interview with Jack just disappeared, Larry. It's amazing how those things happen.
Larry, I was going to point out too, I agree with Jim. If you do all the research that you possibly can on Dorothy Kilgallen, unbelievable. There's been some pretty good authors out there, and Mark Shaw was one of them. But
exactly.
But opening that up is a major can of worms. I'd like to find out where those can of worms are. I bet they're sitting somewhere in the FBI files somewhere. The bad part about it is I don't know that for a fact, but the FBI has it's one of those agencies where you sit back and over the years, as most of you already know, a lot of people will say, well, let the FBI handle it. And I'm sitting there going, you got to be kidding me. Every time they handle something, they lose stuff. Okay.
Well, the FBI functions as a cover-up organization on behalf of crimes committed by the federal government, Casey. So your concerns are well-founded, especially in the case of JFK.
Oh, absolutely.
No
doubt about it. But
yeah,
Larry, what I was going to ask you is that I know for a fact that probably about 4 or 5 years ago, Brian and I and David went to a couple of the libraries, the major library in Dallas, and when we got there, there was a storehouse of material there, and I just sat back and I said, "Is this available to the public?" She goes, "Well, it is if you ask for it." And I said, "Well, it is if you know that it's there." I said, "There's a lot of people that don't even know it's there." So we got back in there, what I would call the government stacks or documents, whatever, and we started looking at the trial photos, but of Jack Ruby's
trial in Dallas.
Yeah, but the bad part about it was they didn't let him take photos. They did have a couple guys in there who were artists, and they drew pictures of what was going on, and there was probably about 12 to 15 of those particular items in that library, and we have access to that, but we got access only because the librarian there, or the curator who was holding that, said, we want you guys to come on back. And we said, can we take pictures of this? And she said, yeah, but she couldn't take them out.
So let me ask you, Casey, how well versed are you on Mark Shaw's research?
Not as good as probably you are, because I'll tell you what, you've opened up some pretty good things here. I've met Mark before, talked with him, but it sounds like this I call it a treasure trove. And of course, my wife would sit back and say, "Good God, it's 60 years after the murder of JFK." And I said, if you know anything about history is stored away, and then it's opened up little by little, and then whoever is on stuff will pull this out. And once he pulls it out, we get access to it, and then we get to see what's going on. Yeah, I see. Great. Mark right
there. Let's play this short clip here.
Go for it, Larry. I mean, we see the image. There you go. Now we're not hearing the sound.
Oh, you're not. Oh, okay. Wait. Okay, can you see the image and not the sound?
We can see the image, but not the sound.
Okay. I had to share. Sorry. Can we go back?
Yeah, just go ahead. Just keep going. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We can go a little longer tonight, Larry. I'm not worried about it.
Okay. Now screen share sound. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. You got to click those two little buttons.
Yes.
At the bottom when you do
okay. Got it now. Okay. Hold on.
All right.
And you can edit.
No, I can't edit. We're okay.
Okay.
Not a big deal. Go ahead.
Listening and watching this testimony, and she hears Campbell and Newman say that Jack Ruby was watching the assassination as it took place. All right. Here's the one that really hit me, though. Jack Ruby, what'd he say? Well, I just happened to be by the Dallas Police Department basement, right? I just happened to go down there, and they just happened to bring Oswald on, and I just happened to shoot him. Well, if you believe that, come on. But people have for years and years and years and years. Ruby trial transcript in the page. The conversation was about this man named Hallmark, who owned the parking lot across from Jack Ruby's Carousel Club. On Saturday before Ruby shot Oswald, he came over and asked to use the payphone. Hallmark stands there as he's using the payphone, and he listens, and here's what he said. Did Ruby say anything with reference to concerning whether or not he would be there or not when Oswald was transferred? Did he say anything on that? He told whoever he was talking to that he would be there. He would be there, yes. Stalking Oswald, no question about it. He would be there. It wasn't happenstance that he ended up there. And then in the Ruby trial transcripts, it talks about Ruby he made like a reporter. He told a witness he made like a reporter to get into the news conference for Oswald in the police headquarters and then get into the basement. And then he used his friends from the Dallas Police Department to get into the basement as well. I hate the word conspiracy. There's no conspiracy in this case. It's a plot to kill the president, and this proves it. It's always been in there, and we all missed it. Greg found these things, and I published them.
All right. Stop the share. Okay. Yeah, he's great and everything, but guess what? All these transcripts have been published at the same website that we presented the Lee Oswald passports. We've been doing it for the past couple of months,
right?
And I went and did a search. I think when I saw this, Mark Shaw said, well, he's been holding these documents close to the vest, and he's made money, on publishing a book, and the title of the book, "The Reporter Who Knew Too Much," regarding Dorothy Kilgallen, and a couple of other books that he published on Melvin Belli, and who is the attorney who represented Jack Ruby. But he hasn't really gone deeply into the release of what I'm showing to you tonight here, which are the actual transcripts that he just mentions, in a cursory manner. But you have to go deep into all of these transcripts, and I counted how many, and maybe I can get the screen here and show you guys how many witnesses. Hold on. How many actual witnesses
testified during the trial? Yeah.
Yes. And it's like a who's who, Jim, of holy shit. I'm going, damn. Let me go here. Here we go. Yeah. You guys see that?
Yep.
Man, check this out. KC.
Wow. You got James Chaney in there too. I'd like to hear what he.
That was the first one, man. And guess what? I've been looking for it, and it's one of the few that is missing. I told Jim that one of the 4 JFK horsemen. That's him.
Yeah, of course. I mean, but that it's missing. That's very disturbing.
I mean, this is a who's who. Don Campbell, and John Newman, who the 2 guys that worked for the advertising department. That we're gonna go into those 2 guys' transcripts. I mean, real heavy duty stuff, because they were with Jack Ruby at the time of the assassination, right before, and then they went down to the street, and Jack stayed in the office. He never left the Dallas Morning News office of this guy right here, John Newman. It says not John. Instead of John Newman, it's Newman. You got that right there?
Yeah.
Okay, and look at the other people here. You've got Patrick Dean.
Patrick Dean.
Of course, and go up and down. And each one of these, if you don't recognize the name, guess what? This is a brand new strand of investigation that needs to be pursued.
Is this W.J. Harrison? Is that Blackie Harrison?
It could be, and there's one here, Brantley. Isn't this Ray Brantley? Might have had.
Yeah, I think so.
Michael's father.
Wow.
Lavelle. We all know Lavelle Graves. Etc. Wes Wise, which is the one that we're going to really zoom into here tonight. But crazy stuff, isn't
That's
it?
a hell of a witness list, Larry.
Yeah.
So we let me get out of here.
And you have access, would you say 2,500 pages or something like that of the transcripts?
Everything is there.
Holy
But
cow.
the problem is that you cannot download it as one file. You have to go page by page, brother.
Oh, wow. There we go.
You download pages, Larry, or you can't download. You only have
you have to. It's got to be page by page, unfortunately.
But I mean, you got to take a photograph of each page.
No. You download the JPEG.
So you can download 2,500 JPEGs.
Yeah.
That sounds like that sounds like Bart Camp. God, I remember he'd be griping and bitching and saying, "Oh God, I got too many damn things."
Let me go into some of this stuff, because okay. Okay. First of all, this is the guy. Hold on. Okay. Let me share screen. You guys see this?
Yeah.
Dr. Fred Bierberdorf. Okay. You guys ever heard about that guy?
I never heard the name. Now,
Vaguely.
Yes or no? Okay. This is the guy that came in and examined Jack Ruby right after he supposedly knocked off Lee Oswald. And he was there. Let me go to the next page here. He was there because he had been a medical student, all right? And he's the one that gets assigned to check Jack Ruby after he kills, quote unquote.
After he purportedly killed Lee.
Yeah, let's keep it there. So, and you get this in there, And he tells you exactly what he was wearing, and a lot of important detail for anybody who wants to, go that way, like somebody that we know. And so I found this very, very, uh, I don't know.
Yeah, this is pretty interesting. I really haven't heard of his name, but I'm wondering, I mean, was he there?
Yeah, he was just fresh out of, he was a doctor, and he was assigned to, at the time, to be at the correctional facility, there downtown, to attend to maybe people who had been arrested. They might have a problem, so that's why he was there, and he was able to interact with Jack Ruby.
Okay, now
So that's why his name comes about. And
is
he actually testified at the trial.
Wow, now he is he an MD, or is he?
Yes, absolutely. He had just been ready to graduate and everything.
Wow.
Yeah. And okay, so that's just hold on. Let me real quick because
I should think Ralph would be obsessed with this, Larry.
he should, because there is Don Campbell, Barney Ross. Okay, Barney Ross. Let me have any of you guys ever heard of Barney Ross?
I've heard the name, but I can't place who it is right off.
Okay, Barney Ross was a boxer.
Oh, wow.
And Barney Ross grew up with Jack Ruby. And he was brought in as a character witness, by the defense. And obviously it was Melvin Belli is how you pronounce it. And one of the things that stands out is how Belli tried to feverishly make Jack Ruby make out to be like he was crazy, that he needed to pursue, the insane defense, insanity, in the assassination of Lee Oswald. So Belli, here we go. He brought out the testimony of Barney Ross, and it turns out that these guys were like brothers for an entire life. And this is not even mentioned at all, as in the relationships that Jack Ruby had, with other people. All right. And Barney Ross, if you go and look at his record, man, this guy, I think it was 75 fights, he won every fight except 4. All right. And he actually fought against Henry Armstrong, the great boxer. That was his very last fight. And this guy was hands down Jack Ruby's brother.
Yeah.
That's something that has never, been here. He even says, what was his nickname? We call him Sparky.
There you go.
All right. And so that's one of the angles that comes out of this whole thing on the documents there that have to do with the transcripts of Jack Ruby, of the trial. And so, I'm going to show you guys something else real quick. Okay, hold on. And this is, I hope obviously we have time. Garrett Hallmark. Yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty good stuff, Larry. Holy cow.
You're going to trip out on this one. Hold on.
Jeez.
Okay, we're ready. Oh, by the way, I want to hear. This is. Can you guys see this? No, I haven't started sharing it. Hold on. Yeah. Here we go. I want to share. Okay, C.G. Hallmark. Okay, Garrett Claude Hallmark. This guy worked across the street there on Commerce. He owned the All Right okay, All Right parking lot, which happens to have been a place where Lee Oswald happened to have applied for a job. But that's besides the point. That's not what we're gonna cover here now. But in the trial of Jack Ruby, it turns out that this guy witnessed a certain phone call, all right, between Jack Ruby and somebody who was on the other side, who he surmised or whatever was part of the Dallas Police Department. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, we go here under direct examination. You are Mr. Garnett Cloud Hallmark. That's correct. Talking to the microphone. Okay, let me go on here. How are you employed? I am a general manager for the All Right Auto Parking Incorporated. How long have you been working for All Right? 7 years. Directing your attention to 23rd day, Saturday after the assassination, 2:50 p.m. Did you see the defendant, Jack Ruby, on that occasion? He says, yes, sir, I did. Now, what parking lot? It's the one there on Nichols where Jack parked his car there for so many years. Okay. And next to his close to his place of business, obviously. Okay. And Tonahill goes in there. You know, we all know that Tonahill was his one of the two lawyers. The other one was Melvin Belli, and that's where the problems came out. Do you want to say something, Casey?
Well, for the most part, I find this pretty interesting material, primarily because we've never had access to this.
Never.
And this is this opens up. I mean, it's a bushel of worms. It's what.
Oh, brother, you're gonna see more, brother. Hold on. I'm not done with you. So he goes, oh, Jack. Okay, did we miss here? Okay, so he goes down here. What was the occasion? The 22nd or the 23rd? The 23rd, Saturday afternoon, around 2:50 p.m. What did he say with reference to being a reporter, if anything? He said that he was making like a reporter. Yeah.
Jack Ruby. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Making like a reporter. He says, yes. And this isn't grand jury stuff. This is real testimony, you guys. All right. Which is why Mark Shaw attains so much importance to this, So, yes. While dialing the number, did Ruby ask for you anything that you recall? No, he commented short about what had happened to the president. It was terrible, So in other words, he's not really going crazy or anything like that. Did he mention anything with reference to the Colony Club? Yes, he asked if the Colony Club would be open. And what did you say? I told him I did not know. And on and on and on. Okay, and we get this here. Did he talk to someone? Oh, okay. We got to go back here because this is what's so important here. Okay, here. So he asked to make a phone call. And Hallmark here is saying that he knew the number, I'm sure. Okay, and he said, did he dial a number? He said, yes. Do you know who he asked for on the phone? Not on the first call. Okay, how about the next one? Do you know who he asked for? Or did he ever get who he was calling? Or couldn't you tell for sure? And he goes, he asked for Wes Wise. Wes Wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where the can of worms starts to spill over, isn't that, Casey?
Yeah, no kidding.
And did you hear what Ruby? So in other words, when I told Gary about this today, his jaw dropped. He said, what? Is this for real?
Were you talking to Gary?
Yeah. Because when something important like this comes up, man, I go straight to the boss.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear you.
And I said, Wes Wise, future mayor of Dallas, who probably suppressed assassination documents for God knows how long, and then later on represented the 6-4 Museum. Such a scumbag, died in 2022. Need I say more?
Well, what's that old terminology? It's all in the family. And I'm sure.
But you know that he is the focus of one of the most important thesis of the of James Douglas book. You know, what do they
yeah.
call it? Yeah, the unspeakable. JFK and this unspeakable, where he places Wise in that shell game with the Falcon, you know, and the mechanic who said he swore that he saw Lee Oswald get into the Falcon and wait, and then they took him, you know, as a second now Oswald, at least that he looked so much, you know, like him, you know, page 286, JFK and the unspeakable. So that's where all this ends, you know, where the two Oswald scenario, which we all know, but Wes Wise ends up being on the other side of the fence, you know. So anyway, let me see if I can find something here more. Okay. Did you talk to someone other than Wes Wise? This is where Ruby is trying to find out about the scenario in the basement. And he ends up saying, I will be there. Okay.
Wow.
He will be there. Yeah. And they asked him, okay, don't worry about it. You know, I will be there. Jack Ruby. All right. Now, it doesn't matter if you believe the Cinque scenario of Bookout or whatever. This is the real deal. This is real transcript going on here. Jim, you got anything here on this?
Well, it's very damn interesting. Yes, on multiple grounds, as you and Casey are exploring. So I think there's a tremendous gold mine here, Larry, for further exploration. And I'm just fascinated to hear what you're making of it at this point in time.
Wes Wise, who was future mayor of Dallas and who was at the time a sportscaster, okay, and he knew Ruby very well, and it's all in these transcripts. And let me tell you why he did, because Ruby was very involved in the boxing scenario, okay, and matches and everything, and his best friend, okay, that we talked about a little while ago, okay, Barney Ross, was a world champion. So when when the trial comes out, Melvin Belli wants to focus on how bellicose Ruby was. All right, that Ruby was, you know, if you look at examine, you know, the transcript, every freaking witness
Well,
that
Larry,
he
it's
talks to,
you know, it's a typical maneuver of a defense attorney, a special pleading, cite only the evidence favorable to your side, suppress all the rest, also known as the method of selection and elimination. So he's trying to select just the evidence that can put his client in the best light for the defense he's chosen to advance, which is in mental instability or insanity.
Exactly.
Very implausible in the case of Jack Ruby, but there it is.
And that's what he's famous for. In fact, there was a saying that they knew him as something or other, but I'm not going to go into that. That's not. But that's what his mission was, to portray Jack as you know, an unstable, you know, creature, you know, and this and that. But the thing about this is when you read the transcript and they keep bringing in more and more witnesses, more and more start saying, hey, no, Jack was cool, you know, there's no problem with him. Yeah, every now and then, you know, he'd go off, but that's like everybody, you know. And so let me show you guys something. Okay, hold on. Oh boy, crazy stuff. So did we? Okay, we went over the Weiss, you know, that's who he called. And then what happens is that they figure that there was, okay, let's go over this. This is interesting here. Okay, I like this one.
But certainly suggests Wes Wise played a key role behind the scene already at the, in the planning stage and anticipating how to cover it up. In other words, he was not merely a sportscaster. He was a heavy-duty right-wing operative in Dallas at the time.
Absolutely. And if you look
Yeah.
at James Douglas, he will confirm that he was up to something, crazy, that day, especially in establishing that second Oswald. Casey, anything?
Well, I tell you what, it's interesting, and of course, I would like to see the rest of these. I know that's 2,500 pages, but the thing of it is that even Ruby Cullen wise, it presents a whole different avenue, and you're sitting there going, okay, why was that never brought out to the general public? And for the most part, even that those transcripts have been, I would say, hidden all these years. What were the people writing about other than the facts that we knew that were coming out of that trial? And I'm sitting there going, my God, why wouldn't somebody get access to those transcripts and go over them? And it's been 60 years. Well, it's probably 60 years primarily because aren't 99% of those people dead? So
Now I want to, because hold on, because really what I wanted to do was get Jim Campbell, because we did a show, believe it or not, 6 freaking years ago. All right. 6 years ago. Don Campbell. Here we go. Let me get the screen here, sir. Jerry Coley. There we go. Remember Jerry Coley? And I mentioned it, and I wrote about him in the book. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was the fellow that worked at the Dallas Morning News, okay, in the advertising department. He worked with this guy, Don Campbell. Okay. You guys see this? This is the witness that they bring, okay? And they ask him, what the hell were you doing that morning? And he spends the whole morning with Jack Ruby, and not only that, okay, I'm going to go here and show you guys where we did that show right here. You see there? Jerry Coley and the Pool of Blood. And I added this, in my book, and this was 1/13/17. This was more than 6 years ago, guys. And right in here, he was with Don Campbell right here. With that, I'm highlighting. You guys see this?
We do.
Right. Okay. So, and this is the entire interview, which happened to have been on Black Op Radio of all venues, but it doesn't matter because the information was gold. And where our friend Jerry Coley and his friend Charlie Mulkey were standing there at the corner of Houston and Maine, watching the parade. Okay. And then, they saw the whole thing, the epileptic fit and everything. And then, they talked about the Pool of Blood and what happened at the time of that Pool of Blood, where their photographer, Jim Hood, went over there and he took pictures of that Pool of Blood at the top of the stairs there. And Jim Hood later on disappeared in all of his film and everything. And the FBI came by looking for Jerry Coley, because Hugh Ainsworth had mentioned him. All right. Are you guys following this? And so guess what? Jerry Coley gets involved in this, and he gets interviewed by Black Op Radio. And we went ahead and I transcribed it, everything, and I published some of the stuff in my book. And the importance being that the Pool of Blood, of course, but that these guys worked for the Dallas Morning News. And there's Don Campbell. And guess what? He's one of the main witnesses in the Jack Ruby trial. So let's go look for his testimony. You guys, that wouldn't be a bad idea, right?
Yeah, good idea. Is Coley still alive?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
How old is he now? Is he
He's got to
upper
be in
80s?
his late 80s, probably. You know, somebody told me that we could get a hold of him. You know, that'll be great. Anyway, so can you guys see this here?
Yeah.
Yep. You
Okay,
got
so
DV Harkness. Okay.
huh?
You start off with DV Harkness.
No. Okay. Let me stop here. All right, I got a lot of stuff here, man. You guys. Okay, so we did, and John Newnham instead of John Newman, and he's the guy. Let me give you. I'll take it here. Newman. Here it is. Okay, here he goes. Now this guy goes out right before the motorcade. Okay, and here's a direct examination. Okay, and he goes down there, right, like 5 minutes before the assassination. Okay, directing your attention, and I will ask you if you worked that day. Yes, sir. And would you recall whether or not that was the day that the president visited Dallas? Yes. Did you see the parade? Yes, I did. Okay, and he went earlier. Whatever you watched it. Wherever you watched it from, did you go back to work? He says, yes, I did. And what time did you arrive back at the office? 12:40.
Wow.
At the time you went back to your office, did you know that the president had been shot? I did not. That is so key here, guys, because, the people that are watching the parade from the other side that, were not as close to the infield there, lining Elm Street, probably didn't know what was going on. And I read some passages where the tree line also impeded that view. So anyway, when you arrived at your office, I will ask you if you saw the defendant, in this case, Jack Ruby. He says, yes, I did. He's sitting at my freaking desk.
Jeez.
Why? How could I miss him? He goes, go ahead.
Larry, I was gonna say basically, I think you're correct on this. There was so few a number of people on the infield there between probably the top of Elm Street all the way down to the probably to the edge of the North Grassy Knoll. There's hardly anybody there. And the thing of it is that you're right. If you go back up to Commerce Street, you go back up to Industrial.
How bilateral. Bilateral it is.
Yeah, and those people never even knew that the president had been shot.
Yeah.
But those people in front, well, which tends to give us the opportunity to sit back and say, well, if you're going to kill the president of the United States, you're going to have some people around there to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, of course, I'm one of those guys that thinks that some of the people who came into the plaza within seconds after the Kennedy was shot were dressed up as reporters and newspaper personnel, maybe even FBI, Secret Service personnel, and getting access to some of the eyewitnesses there. And I believe that was the 488th military intelligence detachment down there. But trying to get documents to try to prove that it's extremely difficult. But little by little, and of course over a period of 60 years, we are still having people come forward. And I hate to say that we'll have deathbed confessions, but this is documentation that should have been out a long time ago for us to examine. But it's out now, so it's and
let me tell you, it's the thing that I have perceived is that if you know where to look, if you are familiar with the material, you go straight to it, and pick it out,
Right.
obviously that has not been the case, but I wanted to zero in here, and maybe Jim can, we still got time. How much time we got, Jim?
Oh, you can have 30 minutes, Larry.
Oh, okay, come on. Okay, this Alexander, I suppose, has to be Bill Alexander, the notorious assistant DA there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nasty piece of work. Yeah.
Yeah, ask, go read Cover Up, and okay. Dallas Morning News. Yeah, well, since 1936, these guys were in their 40s. I'm directing your attention, and who's talking here is John Newman. He's the one that's who's answering to, and I believe, Alexander is doing the questioning, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks like
Okay,
that.
okay. All right, let's just have some fun here. I will ask you. Go ahead, Jim. What is it?
I will ask you if you worked that day. Yes, sir, I did. And would you recall whether or not that was the day that President Kennedy visited Dallas? Yes, sir, it was. Did you see the parade? Yes, I did. And after the parade passed, wherever you watched it from, did you go back to work? Yes, sir, I did. At the time you went back to your office, did you know that the president had been shot? I did not. When you arrived at your office,
That's interesting. That because of the timing, isn't that interesting? The timing there. These people that don't even know at 12:40. Go ahead.
Yeah, pretty damn fascinating because they're already on their way to pick up Lee at the Texas Theater.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you arrived at your office, I will ask you if you saw the defendant, in this case, Jack Ruby. Yes, sir, I did. Do you see Jack Ruby in the courtroom? Yes, there is Jack sitting there. All right. A little out of focus, Larry. Let's see. When you got back to your office, I'm having trouble with it's fuzzy.
Well, at 12:40, where did you see Jack Ruby? He said,
at my desk.
Good God.
And did you notice what he was doing? You just got through preparing his ad for the next day.
That's he's preparing his ad at the desk at the time JFK is being shot. That's just astounding, Larry.
Isn't this? It's going to define the whole thing. And these are court records. This is the truth here.
God, I'll tell you what. That's some interesting material here.
Did you have a conversation with him? He said, I spoke to him as usual. Yes. And all this backs up Jerry Coley. Let's tell you, all this stuff backs up Jerry Coley.
How long have you known Jack Ruby? Ever since he'd opened his club, which was a private club at first, down on Crossroads Street.
Commerce
Street. Yeah. I don't know how many years ago, 5 or 6 years.
They knew him well. They knew him well.
I would say indeed. It would have been more than 1 year. Yes, sir, it would.
No shit, Sherlock.
And from time to time, did he come in to place ads and discuss his business with you? He did. Now, shortly after you arrived back at 12:40, I will ask you if word was passed out that President Kennedy had been shot.
Yes, it was.
It was. What, if anything, did you do in regard to getting up to date news or watching television about the assassination? In the corner of our office, in our promotion director's office, there was a small television set, which he uses on occasion. And what is the name of that man?
Dick Jeffrey.
Dick Jeffrey. Mr. Dick Jeffrey.
Yes, sir. And where in that second floor was Mr. Jeffrey's office located? It's in the corner. And guess what corner? It's in the one corner from which you can see all of Dealey Plaza. All right. Yeah. Because it would be the northwest. Correct me if I'm wrong. Northwest. Okay. North being okay, and then west. Going left. Facing Dealey Plaza. I would say. in that corner, and they had a full view of Dealey Plaza, Houston, Elm, the TSBD, and that is what they are trying to establish here. Okay, what kind of view would have been available there in that corner, and if Jack Ruby would have been able to see and witness the assassination. And that is where one of the things that I have to say that Mark Shaw is wrong, because he assumes that because Ruby was there, okay, that he was watching the assassination right from up there. But the two main witnesses here, which we just mentioned here, went down at 12:25, 12:20, and we're not up there. We're talking about Newman and Campbell. They left and they went down and they witnessed the assassination down on the street. All right. So what I'm saying here is that there's no way to corroborate, that aspect, of, if Ruby was there and he actually looked and saw JFK getting his head blown away,
right,
which is what Mark says in his presentation, which I think is wrong.
But I gotta say, Larry, it's a hell of an alibi to be up there preparing an ad for the newspaper.
And not only that, he's there until 1:30, Jim, and that's exactly what we're gonna look at here. Go ahead.
I'll tell you what. I think Jim is correct, because that was the first thing on my mind. They're putting this down in court documents as if it were the truth, and I'm sitting there going, we have outside other information that has been brought up, even in the Warren Commission documents themselves.
Yeah,
it is different from what this is. And I know that this is a court transcript, and we would all like to say, okay,
yeah,
it's a document that shows what happened at that time. But at the same time, we have other people that have Jack Ruby other places. And
Casey, I have direct personal experience, and what goes on in the courtroom may be very far removed from truth.
No, you guys, go for it, because that is exactly what this is for, to discuss exactly, the possibility or the inability of this,
Yeah, you had it better focused a second ago where I could read more.
Okay,
Did
okay,
you-
okay. Okay,
Yeah.
let me go back. Yeah, this
Pull
is-
back a
this is
little,
good.
pull back a little, pull back a little.
Yeah, because it's out of focus right there.
Yeah,
Because
still out of
okay,
focus, Larry.
some of these actually are carbon copies.
And
Well,
so
maybe pull in a little more then. Yeah. A little more, a little more, a little more, a little more.
Back?
No, further in, actually. I was mistaken. Yeah.
Okay.
Ah,
yeah, I can remember.
there we go.
Brian-
There we go. There we
There you
go.
go.
Okay.
Okay. I will show you
Show
what
you.
are in evidence in state exhibits number 1 and 2 and ask you if you can identify those exhibits. Yes,
What they're trying to establish is the angle from the window of the Dallas Morning News office there at the corner.
yeah, it's too hard for me to read, Larry. You better do it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I can see it fine.
Go
And
ahead.
I would ask you if those two exhibits represent the scene, okay, for outside of the Jeffrey store. So actually what they're trying to do is, establish, what kind of view would have been, available to Jack Ruby had he been there, okay, in that office there. So let's go ahead and let me.
Well, thinking about it, Larry, and you know this from your modeling, from that view, you probably couldn't see much of what the hell was going on. I mean, it's just jacks that are flopping over. You could have seen the limo stop. Now, if you were paying attention to it,
No, you could never, not from that position at all. You would never be able to see the limo stop.
Okay.
In fact, that's one of the things that I wanted to show you here now.
Very good, very good, very good, very good.
Way too far
Excellent, I
away.
like that.
And this has to do with our work on the Alchins. Okay.
Yes.
Let me show you here. Okay.
I was going to point out, I'm going to say 40 years ago, maybe even 50 years ago, I had interviewed Jean Hill for forever and ever. And we were walking around Dealey Plaza, and I know she brought some of this out in her book. But she told me, she said, basically, when she was brought up to the third floor of the old Dallas County courts building, she said they put me in a room which was overlooking Dealey Plaza. And I said, well, can you describe the room? And she says, yeah, it was like if you were in a college lecture hall and you had the professor who was at the front, which was below her, but at the same time, you could look out into Dealey Plaza, and it was like a giant picture screen. You could see what was going on in Dealey Plaza. And basically, I said, that's where they put you? She goes, yeah. I said, was there anybody in the room? She goes, no, but she says, cigarettes were still smoldering. Cigars were still smoldering. You could see drinks of people who were there. And she said that somebody was there watching, or somebody
Casey, this was a surveillance operation. They were watching everyone at Dealey Plaza before and then going out and grabbing them.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what I wanted to bring out, because if you had
Wow.
So would you confirm that the scene as presented in the movie JFK is accurate in that regard? Where they pulled her.
Which scene specifically, Larry, do you mean?
You mean
Gene Hill
being brought up Gene Hill being brought up to the county records building there, which is portrayed in the JFK in the movie.
Yeah, that old Dallas County courthouse that looks like if you look
but would you say that scene is at least accurate the way it's presented in the movie?
I would. Well, let me see now.
I'd say accurate as the way the interrogation went. Maybe not accurate regarding the room, because what Casey...
No. We're just talking about Gene Hill. Being brought up to as we all know, the scene, how it's played out in the movie.
Right.
And this, you're not to talk about this to anybody, and all that,
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I'm sure that's right. Yeah.
So that's all. That my question was, would you, both of you, consider that was accurate?
Yeah,
the way it's presented in the movie. That's all.
Yes, I would too. And the other thing too is, I would say for about a 10 to 15 year period, every time that I went to Dealey Plaza, I tried to get up on that third floor, and they would not let me up there. And I was telling them, I said, I just want to get a picture from that window up there because it's a pretty good view. Or how do I get on top of the roof? And I just wanted to get on the third floor. I wanted to see who was up there, and I'm trying to figure out whose offices those were at that particular time.
Right. Which obviously there is a lot of controversy and a lot of stuff that hasn't been properly investigated. How all those companies in that summer transferred from the location of the Dow Techs across the street, in a building that was practically, falling apart.
Well, and I heard, and I will, I'm trying to figure out where I read this, but that Jack Ruby was up there on the third floor at least a day or a couple of days prior to the murder of JFK, passing out his cards saying, I'm Jack Ruby. He says, you're going to know me in a couple of days. And I'm sitting there going, is this the same? Well, I know it's the same Ruby, but is it the same building where
Casey, that sounds like
the girls that worked at Scott Sportsman. Anyway,
let me pursue this a moment. Casey, that sounds like the fake Lee Oswald going out in the shooting range and firing on the other target and saying, oh, I'm sorry, I was thinking it was Kennedy. I mean, this sounds like a little too much, trying to make it sound as though Jack Ruby is supposed to be remembered for saying you're going to know about me in a couple of days. That sounds ridiculous.
I know, doesn't it sound ridiculous?
Who's going to say that?
Yeah.
Oh, so
good point, Jim.
We're almost done here with this analysis, and I want to show you guys something that is amazing to me because it has to do with this Newman guy racing back to the Dallas Morning News building after the assassination, and they ask him, when did that happen? It was around 1240, and the reason that we need to point this out is because we know that good old Ike Alchins, stayed in Dealey Plaza after taking Alton 6 and 7 and whatever. And he is seen in photos of other photographers lingering in Dealey Plaza for a long time. And this is published in the book. And then he goes looking for a phone to make a phone call. and he finally gets over to his Dallas Morning News people, and they say, "Get your ass over here," So that's the official, version. And you have two different documents that show that either the FBI said 1257, or 103 for the Altons to be on the wire, which is complete.
Yeah, nonsense.
Okay.
Right.
And so
Absolutely.
then we have this sample here of how long it would have taken for people who worked at the Dallas Morning News to get to back to the office after the assassination. And it clearly says here 10 to 12 minutes to walk back, with obviously, the volume of people walking here and there, maybe the pedestrian stop signs or whatever, that they would have had to traverse, obviously, and which follows and confirms the JFK horseman and the timeline established for Ike Altgens, that it would have been impossible, just incredibly impossible to process the film, not even contact prints, and then put, the final product on the wire by 103. Okay. And
Yeah, this just one of Josiah's whoppers, I mean, they have shoveled so much shit about the video and the photographs being impossible to alter. Saying, for example, after all, they were in the custody of the Secret Service, as though the Secret Service were not complicit in setting him up for the head and covering it up. For God's
especially
sake.
Greer.
Yeah.
How about Greer? Kellerman not so much, but Greer is egregious. Greer,
Oh, God,
takes the
I know.
cake.
Yeah.
Just disgusting. Larry, we're good anytime you want. We got roughly an hour. If you and Casey,
No, we're good. We're good.
yeah, there's no
just,
rush. There's
final
no rush.
comments. Final comments. I just want to,
I think this is a good
say,
Casey,
Casey,
a lot of good stuff here. I think Ralph ought to be enthralled. We'll see whether he's got the patience to read it all. I think he just might.
It's there for the taking. You can read. I think you can write like 3 books, based on the stuff that I've seen.
Absolutely.
It's just unbelievable.
And guys, I want to tell you very much. Thank you very much for calling me up and getting me in on this, because I know that there are a handful of researchers that are still really doing some good research out there. And Larry, I know you're one of them. And right now, I can't say enough about the finds that you're discovering and opening up. And the bad part about it is I answer every day to people who sit back and they go, this thing is 60 years old. And I said, yeah, and we still don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And the thing about mining the transcript, Jack Ruby transcripts, the importance, because if you gloss over it, you're not gonna. You have to go deep into it, and we're talking about 2,500 pages. And I was looking at there is just like wait a minute, just like we have seen with so many other cases of documents, there is no rhyme or reason. It's
Right.
all in a smorgasbord. So and you have to go, and look for it. Unfortunately.
Well, you're doing a great job of it, Larry, and we love you for it. Casey, just wonderful for you to join us. We're all our sympathy and support for what you've endured in terms of this automobile business. And, we're so glad you're obviously mentally intact and sound, and it didn't bruise your brain, my friend.
It didn't, buddy. I'm right here. Jim, it's good seeing you.
Hey, man, you guys are the only 2 bunk beds, bunk partners that I've had,
Well, you're wonderful, Larry. We are huge fans and supporters and allies. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. We're going to have more news coming, of course, as we continue our new JFK show. But Larry's hit a vein of gold right here with the Jack Ruby trial transcripts. I'm going to share this with Ralph. I expect he's going to be just as delighted as can be.
We need to put the link up also. That would be a good idea to put the link.
You want to show it? You can show it while we're here before we close.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that. Here we go. Okay. Copy. Okay, the one I have here is a couple of pages. Let me see how I can.
You're
Is
still
there
host.
chat there? The chat? Can I put it in the chat?
No, show it on the screen, Larry. That's better.
Okay, there. Yeah, but I cannot put hold on. Hold on.
I see it in chat.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Larry, why don't you draft a couple of paragraphs about tonight's show and we can embed it there. Okay?
Hold
Can you
on,
do
here it
that?
is. Hold
Give me a
on.
description of tonight's show.
Yeah, hold on. Un momento, por favor.
Hey, Jim, let me ask you a question. Where are you broadcasting from?
I'm in Madison, Wisconsin, Casey. I moved down here in 2006.
Okay, because I was over at my brother's house. We were watching the baseball game, and he says, "Where are you going?" And I said, "Well, I'm gonna get on a radio program or a program that's going to be over the air." And I said, "I'll be with individuals in Wisconsin and Florida." And he goes, "Good God." He says, "Are you the Kansas connection?" I said, "Yeah, we are." So that was pretty neat, man. Yeah.
Nice.
Can you see that?
Larry, if you can do a zoom in on that, I think that'll work.
Oh,
Pretty
yeah.
complicated there when it comes to, it's like complex link.
Yeah, scroll up. There you go.
There you go. Very, very good. Very, very good.
More?
I'll leave it there. Yeah. Leave it there for a second. So anyone who
Well,
wants, obviously,
there it is.
pause. They can pause.
What we want is the people go in there and mine that shit out, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mine that shit out, Larry. I like the way you call it.
Yeah.
Mine
It's there. It's there.
out.
It's there for the taking. It's there for the taking.
It's there for the taking. Everyone, you got the word here from Larry and Casey and me.
Go for it, man.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon on the next new JFK show.